get started now. Freedom, 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 freedom. My freedom begins at Life Force Canada.
Hey, welcome to Life Force Canada. I am Karen Klassen, and as you know, we meet here every single Monday to not only inspire you, but to educate you, and of course, to connect with other amazing, amazing sovereigns. It is so key right now to stay connected, so important. Okay, I'm just going to now share my screen. So much is happening in this realm right now as the veils are being dropped. I'm here, as you know, reminding you today that we really need to step into a parallel society. The reason why I wanted to create this presentation is because we do have a lot of new members, and we really need to remind ourselves why we're here and what our roles are that we are going to be stepping into. I find that there's a lot of people in the freedom movement that still believe that we need a government and we need to vote someone in, a new leader. And as you know, I completely disagree with that, and I'm sure you do as well. And then there's a lot of people that are stepping into the legal system, believing that in some way, somehow, that they're going to shift that system. And again, I disagree. And I'm going to show you why in this presentation today. Okay, so what we're going to explore is why is the court system failing us? The problem, most are not aware of the birth certificate system. Most are not aware of the admiralty law, law of the sea. And then I'm focusing on solutions. As you know, Life Force Canada is where we focus on solutions moving forward to create that beautiful new earth, the reality that we're meant to be and to prosper in. So here we need to stop participating. Of course, natural law, law of the land, cross the bridge, the private, yay. And we have Laura Jane, who's created an amazing private membership association course, which she'll be offering again this spring. We're going to talk briefly on notice of liability and then shift in consciousness, love over fear, and of course, spread the word. Now, as you know, we have shared videos here since 2020 in regards to natural law. There's so many amazing experts that I'm learning from, that I know you're learning from. And the information I'm sharing tonight is really sourced from these amazing and courageous men and women who I highly recommend that you check out so that you can do your own research. We need more people sharing this knowledge now more than ever. Okay, David Straight, he's from the US. Law for Mankind is the course that I'm taking right now with Doris and Sandra. I highly recommend this course. I think they only offer it 2 times a year. Kale Spell, she's from the US as well. She is an incredible, courageous soul who is on the circuit and really just empowering people to step out of the public domain. Of course, constitutional conventions is all across Canada. Mark Christopher, he's out of the UK. He's a planetary judge. I just saw a video and he has now 451 million views. I do believe he's on Rumble and BitChute, etc. His whole platform was taken out on YouTube. Mark Passio, if you have seen any of the natural law programs, courses that he runs, I actually did a presentation on natural law based on his work and all the principles that we really need to step into in regards to self-governance. And then I interviewed Adam Beck, who is out of Ontario last year on Reclaim Your Securities. And he is absolutely incredible too. He does have a course available. Okay, so we're going to step into what you already know. So there are 2 parallel systems, law of the sea and law of the land. And the reason I'm going into this is to show you why we're losing in the court system. There are two parallel systems, law of the sea and law of the land. And a lot of people in the freedom movement are not aware that there are these two realities. Well, one's fictional, one's real. So on the left, we have law of the sea, legal, which is unnatural, fiction, maritime admiralty law. This is where rules of corporation, bylaws, statutes, articles. This is the hierarchy system of inequality and subjugation. This is rules, maxims, and standards that have remained uncontested over time. And they use a language called legalese to keep everything complicated. And I'm going to be talking about the language of legalese next Monday. So you're going to want to be here for that as well. And of course, the law of the sea is how the elite class rule the world, everything on the left. On the right is law of the land, which is natural. It is something you are born with. Natural law, creator law, God's law, do no harm. It is knowing what is right and wrong, and you would be able to see through the society we're living in right now if they taught this in school. Freedom is not about doing what you want, right? Freedom is really about doing what your higher self asks of you. It is doing what is right, and it's doing what you ought to do that is good and true. And as we begin to integrate natural law principles, we rise up. And the legal realm has remained uncontested. And it's time for us to take our power back. Okay, so here's how it is. Admiralty law is comprised of rules that define the scope of the court's admiralty jurisdiction. And it'll all make sense when I showcase the court system itself. While maritime law is the law applied by a court exercising admiralty jurisdiction in the public domain. Now, by law, all ships are female because she delivers the product, right? She's a vessel. When a ship pulls into port and stops, it's berthed at the dock because the ship is on the water. Commerce rules the sea. The first thing a captain must do is give the port authorities a certificate of manifest. The port authorities ask how much is on the ship to add to their economy. Every item that comes off that ship has to have a certificate of manifest. It may not make sense now, but it will. We're just going to pivot here for a moment and talk about the birth certificate system and how this applies to the law of the water. So did you know that your parents advertently gave the controllers of this realm permission to use you as cargo to collect millions of dollars from you in taxes? Yes, as soon as you were born, your parents unknowingly registered you with the government, and then you became cargo on a vessel at sea. So just like a ship, you were birthed through the canal of your mother, the waters, and arrived at the dock, your doctor. Your mother signs a birth certificate, which has a bank name and is on bond paper. It also has a QSEP number that is regulated by the Securities and Exchange Commission. We learned all this through David Strait. You were bonded and insured by the shipping company, which they created. Your birth certificate is the title of the soul. They take a print of the sole of your feet when you were born that they own in their registries. And this is all then given to the Vatican. They have registered you, and that is the title to your soul, just like the bank holds the title to your car because you're indebted to them. So in fact, your social insurance card is issued to you with your name in all capital letters, which indicates chattel to a corporation. So every person, resident, or citizen is therefore considered inventory. And I'm sharing this because I'm finding there's even freedom movements that are calling or have the word citizen in their name or in their website URL. And if you are a citizen or resident, a person, you are in that admiralty jurisdiction. And as long as you're in that public jurisdiction, you are in the human slavery debt system. So once you really get it, you will no longer want to be a part of the public domain or participate in their games anymore. You will want to learn everything you can to how to cross the bridge into the private. So it's time that we all realize how the system works and how easy it is to step out of the system without losing any of our God-given rights. Okay, so the straw man, your artificial twin that you never knew you had. The straw man is your all caps name. And it's no more than a legal entity that was set up to enslave you and place you in the jurisdiction of the state, the public, with their laws and statutes. The straw man was created shortly after you were born via the registration of the application for your birth certificate, unknowingly, right, that your parents created, your mother signed. Your straw man is a front third party, acts as an agent in name only to take part in transactions through the banking system regarding titles and property. So yes, modern slaves are no longer shackled in chains, they are shackled with debt. So the straw man traces back to 1666. London, right? London is a state, just like the Vatican is a state, Washington, D.C. is a state. The Crown is unincorporated association. So why unincorporated? Because they know that true power is in the private. So a lot of these entities above the corporate reality are in the private domain. They know the power of being private. Okay, so we're coming full circle here. The name for the straw man, again, is your name in all capital letters. Statute law is a law of contracts. So the purveyors of statute law had to invent fake persons, corporations, to which the fake laws could apply. So this is your straw man. So anytime you send in a form to a government department, it comes back with your name in all capital letters. You are now legal fiction. And this is where your passport, your social insurance, driver's license, anything that you register. Legally, we are considered to be fiction, a concept or idea expressed as a name. The legal person has no consciousness. In the court system, they see you as a dead entity. Legal persons can't walk. They can't talk. They have no gender. Do you see why we have this issue with the gender issue right now? In legal land, persons aren't real. They're artificially created legal entities, corporations. Okay, here we go. Why is the court system feeling us? When you go into court, there's a fence and a gate. Remember, the judge sits in the law of the water, law of the sea, admiralty law. And most people are going to court identifying as the straw man, as a name on their birth certificate, the dead cargo, and the judge knows this. And the drawing on the right, you can see the gate. The gate is called a floodgate. The judge has no jurisdiction on those who are sitting on the other side of that fence or gate because they are in the law of the land. When you walk towards the gate and you touch that gate or you walk through the gate, you are now in their jurisdiction. And admiralty law now applies to you. And because you are now in the law of the water, you are at sea. You are now in hot water, and someone was going to have to bail you out. Bail, right? Getting the pail of water and bailing you out. It all makes sense, doesn't it? The judge knows that you have no idea who you are here. Do not touch the gate in a courtroom. So this is, if you ever have to go to court and you know someone who's going, make sure they do not touch the gate, because the judge knows that he's talking or she's talking to a dead person. And a dead person cannot talk to the judge. You need an attorney, which is your mouthpiece. The attorney has to represent you as you were not licensed to pass the bar. The bar represents a sandbar in the ocean. And that piece of wood on top of the gate is called the bar. The attorneys are licensed to pass the bar. Like when we go to court, when we think of the word court, we think of sports, right? We think of basketball, we think of any sport. You're on a level playing field. The legal system is a game that is not on a level playing field. The judge sits higher than you. Have you seen in the media, especially in the US, on the news, that they are trying to ban the word field now? They're saying it's racist because we know that they need to be playing on a level playing field, and they're not. The judge rules from bench. Bench is bank in Latin. It is all designed to receive money from the human debt slavery system. Nothing in this world runs in the way you think it does. It's all big business. As we know, right? Religions are corporations. Canada is a corporation. Each province is a corporation. We don't have to separate. We're already separated. Revenue Canada is an offshore corporation. They run under maritime admiralty jurisdiction. And knowledge is power. And this is essential knowledge has been purposely and deliberately withheld and obscured from us and from our forebears for centuries, so that the centuries old plan for this hostile corporate globalist takeover, right, of all life could happen on this planet. And it's through the collective masses of all of us being hypnotized and us being ignorant, right, lacking knowledge on the real nature of the program that many of us find ourselves trapped in. They have kept us busy with entertainment, movies, sports, shopping, making money, working long hours. So we would not wake up to our true divine nature and how the law of the land is our safe zone. So here is some admiralty law words that we really need to look at, because as you can see, money, currency, it's all about water. Birth certificate, birth of a ship, citizenship, everything with a ship. This is all a language of the legalese, right? And so we're learning to let go of a lot of what we've been taught, because the natural law is very simple. The legal system is very complicated, and they created it to be complicated so you would not know yourself, so that you would think that you needed a lawyer to stand for you, to speak for you. When the truth is, we do not need to know anything in our legal system. Okay, the government is at the bottom of the pyramid, just above the human slavery debt system. And everyone is complaining about the government. The government has nothing to do with what's happening. There are so many layers above. And so I think when we begin to dissolve our anger issues about the government and we begin to focus on our own power, this is when we begin to rise up. Dresden James stated, the ideal tyranny is that which is ignorantly self-administered by its victims. The most perfect slaves are therefore those which blissfully and unawarely enslave themselves because of their own legal ignorance. The problem is many men and women have forgotten that all they need to do is stand up. And once we stand up, that whole pyramid structure falls like a house of cards. The government created the strawman in order to engage us in its commerce game, in the money game. The problem is humanity has been programmed to believe we need a government or that we need to vote in a master to take care of us. And this is so not true. The legal system is a trap to hunt men like animals. That trap or cage is a civil statutory franchise crafted by greedy predators to steal your rights and property by converting them from private to public without your knowledge or express consent. Everything that we own is actually meant to be in the private. It is now our responsibility to take ourselves back into the private. These are reasons here why people get steamrolled in a court. And it's because they don't show up as a man or woman. They show up as the straw man. They show up as the identity that's on their birth certificate, as the person, the citizen, or the resident. I am the resident at, and then give their address. You can only show up as a man or woman. If you talk about your children in the court system, you are immediately dropped down to parents. The judge knows that you do not know who you are, because parents in legalese means a pair that rents. You need to show up as a mother or father only. And they are not children. They are not your children. They are property. These are all the languages. This is a natural law way of speaking in any court system that we're going to be learning. We all need to learn so that we can take our power back. People get steamrolled in a court because they brought a lawyer to court with them, which means you agreed to someone else's jurisdiction, right? You have agreed to now admiralty jurisdiction, believing you need a lawyer. In natural law, in the law of the land, you do not need a lawyer. You agreed to someone else's jurisdiction without knowing it. You tried to defend someone else's complaint instead of expressing their claim of what is true. Most people go to court and complain. And when they complain, they begin to act like a child instead of being the man or the woman and pressing a claim in a calm, respectful, harmonious manner. When you press a claim with an emotion that is not in harmony with the law, anger or fear, they win. And the reasons why all our efforts fail in court is because we fail to express our law, our natural God-given rights. It is either our law, our sovereignty that we're expressing, or someone else's law. And Jonathan Little from Law of Mankind, he's amazing. He says, jurisdiction, do not give it to them. You are in control, and they know that when you know who you are as a sovereign man or woman, they can't do anything against you. And there is a way out. We have solutions. Your way out is to stop being your straw man. You no longer refer to yourself as a person, resident, citizen. Start participating in the public domain. And this is, again, this is a journey. This is not something we're all going to do tomorrow. This is going to take some time. We all need to be patient with ourselves. This is the undoing, the unraveling. This is the cutting of the cord. This means stop voting in provincial or federal elections. Focus your energy on creating a powerful, intentional community. The power is in your town. The power is in the towns within every province. It's in the county. And we need to begin, assisting in that waking up of all the townspeople right now, because these 15-minute cities are on their way. Learn to speak as a sovereign man or woman based in the private domain under natural law. Support movements like Life Force Canada. Share this information with other freedom movements as we move forward. So now I'm going to just piece out these into solutions so that you really get what we're talking about here. So solution number one, crossing the bridge from public to private. Again, public is the law of the sea, law of water, admiralty jurisdiction. This is where you do not want to be. We want to cross over the bridge into the private jurisdiction, into a private association. Ray from Activate Us has an amazing course that he's offering on helping people do this. Powerful. Okay, and on the left there, you can see I have human rights. Human rights are public rights, and they destroy private rights because most people do not know, again, who they are. Human in their realm means monster in the Black Law Dictionary. So on the right, we have unalienable rights as a sovereign. We are still in a debt slavery system, no matter how we cut it over there. David Straight reminds us that you have all the power and they know it. The problem is you do not know it until now. Solution number 2, do not bring a lawyer to court. Now, that said, you can still hire a lawyer because there are lawyers that are waking up and they're getting it. So you may hire a lawyer. We're not going to be calling them lawyers in the private domain. They're going to be maybe called adjudicator or mediator, whatever terms that every town is going to have their own laws. So you would just hire an adjudicator who knows about natural law and knows what it means to sit in the private domain. However, must not go to court with you. You must learn how to stand on your own 2 feet as a man or woman. We need to breathe this in. We will be creating our own natural law court system in every town and county. This is something we all need to practice. Number 3, stop feeding the beast. Okay? Their system is not broken. I hear this all the time. We have to fix their system. No, we do not want to fix their system. Their system was designed the way it is to keep us from remembering who we are. The truth is, we have never voted anyone in. They are all groomed. Presidents, premiers, they are all groomed and selected far, far in advance to keep their agenda going. Both the left and right are 2 wings of the same beast. The way out is creating a new parallel society and no longer giving the devil any attention. The Satanic Church is really gaining momentum. They were just registered and recognized by US Congress, I do believe, just in 2020. So they are officially registered as a religion now. We need to really unplug from television and movies that create fear and really focus on the reality that we want to create, because they are going to be showcasing some crazy things in the future, and we need to be mentally, emotionally, and spiritually prepared for this. As long as you continue to vote in a provincial or federal election, you are keeping the birth certificate system alive. If you continue to live as a citizen, it binds you to their system. And even city mayors are not voted in by the populace. Of course, they've had us believing that we were free. So we need to stop focusing on provincial elections or federal elections and turn our focus over to the town and county. This is where our power is. We need to just really step out and begin to create a parallel society with our intentional communities. Now, you see Trudeau here. You've probably seen this photo already with Danielle Smith. Do you see how he has his thumb over top of her hand? This is symbolism. He is showing you that she is under his thumb. She cannot do anything without the approval of the agenda. Politics is only meant for one thing, to divide us. to create the left and the right. Yet they are just one big family who have hijacked this realm, and we now need to remember our divine power. So many believe if we do not have a government, there will be chaos. This is one of the biggest issues. And I say, no, this is not true. We are actually living in chaos right now. We need to remember that as we step into self-governance and we remember who we are, there will be a shift in consciousness coming. If there's light in the soul, there is beauty in the man or woman. If there is beauty in the man or woman, there will be harmony in the home. If there's harmony in the home, there will be order in the town. If there's order in the town, there will be peace in the province. Breathe this in. We've got this, right? Number 5, help create a parallel society. Again, the power is in the town. We do have many towns that are starting to really wake up. This is where we create every town to be a private association. They create a resource-based contributionism economy so everyone thrives. We step out of all of those jurisdictions in the public domain. We begin to grow our own food. We don't buy from the Walmarts or the Costco's anymore. We are supporting local. We're supporting farmers. We are learning new skills. We're supporting each other. I love this quote, do unto those downstream as you would have those upstream do unto you. Number 6, we need more leaders. We need your voice. We need you to speak out and share your beliefs, your views, your passion. You have skills, and it's so important right now that we just get up, we stand up, and we are no longer silent. There is a shift in consciousness, and the path to self-governance is not an easy path. You cannot be free without facing your fears. We only experience a lack of freedom when we are in misalignment with what is actually right and wrong. If there's an unwillingness to do what is actually right, we will experience unnecessary suffering. You may see what is right and wrong, but are afraid to act. This is what you have to confront before you are free. Again, this is the journey that we're on. We are stepping into self-governance. I shared a powerful presentation on principles of natural law. And we really need to discover our own mind, our own emotions, and how we feel, deepen into our spirituality. And again, it's not an easy path. We've been down a lot of rabbit holes, as I'm sure you have. And we're probably going to continue to move down different rabbit holes. And as we move down those rabbit holes, you're not going to feel good in your body. It's going to be very uncomfortable, and we have to learn how to be uncomfortable in our bodies as we move forward without reacting to that uncomfortable energy. Your power source is your heart, but most of the time you're in your head wondering why you don't feel very powerful. Go into the heart. That is the source of your power. Love. Love is the frequency that we're all tapping into, we're tuning into. And as we move forward, we're going to find more ease and grace. The more we do the inner work to dissolve all the programming, we're going to wake up one day and, oh my gosh, we're going to be in that reality that we've always wanted to be in. Jonathan Little, in The Law of Mankind, states, no harm has ever been done by a government to any man or woman. Let me repeat that. No harm has ever been done by a government to any man or woman. Some of us in the sovereign movement, we don't believe that because we've seen people being arrested and taken to jail. Jonathan Little reminds us that they did not follow through. with being sovereign in the court system. The shift that needs to take place is overcoming your fear. You do this by reclaiming your soul from the bondage of this realm. And we just need to break through that wall, that small brick wall within our own mind, to really recognize the freedom that lives in our soul. Some days it can feel like this. Where's the bridge? Where did it go? We have to remember, we can only do this together. You're not meant to be alone on this journey. We're doing this together, everyone. Again, this is about having no more hierarchy. So we have no more federal government. We have no more provincial government. What we have instead is a council. A council's only role is the sharing of knowledge within our province. And the sharing of knowledge spreads out to every town within that province. So every town, county is supported to become a private association outside of the public government jurisdiction. And this is how we support the many towns within the province of British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, New Brunswick, and so on, Quebec, etc. Self-mastery and sovereignty are one and the same. We spend most of our lives allowing our minds to run wild, filling them with distractions and programming from media and entertainment. This is what we're unwinding from. From this disempowered state, we might blame the mind itself as the source of all of our troubles. Some think that the ego is a demon or a dark version of ourselves hidden within, and that if we could only destroy it completely, we would be enlightened. However, we need the ego. We need the healthy ego. If we didn't have our ego, we wouldn't be able to be here in this third dimensional reality. So we're here to bring the ego and the higher self and integrate. Yet if we've never gained mastery of the mind, it will become our greatest enemy, making us feel pain, limitation, and unnecessary suffering as we transition. So self-mastery and sovereignty is what we're going to be educating you on in the private domain of Life Force Canada. The plan will work if more comprehend what must be done. Again, do not focus on the problems they are creating out there. Focus on the reality that you want to see. If you have not seen the Backcasting 2030 replay on our YouTube channel or our Rumble channel, I highly recommend it. It will just awaken your heart and allow for that joy to awaken within you, to see what's truly possible and where we're going. And as each man and woman reclaim their sovereignty, they take back their divine power. You are here to live in the freedom frequency of life. We are shifting out of this third dimensional reality and into higher realms. As we begin to say yes to our soul, to our higher self, to meditation, and reclaiming our sovereignty, we will create heaven on earth. If you're new here and you haven't joined Life Force Canada, I highly recommend you go to our website, lifeforcecanada.ca. There's a lot of information there as well. And of course, we are all volunteers here at Life Force Canada, and we are so grateful to people who are offering donations. We appreciate you, and I thank you. I am complete with my presentation.